Hi there, in this video I'll talk about the different types of data that we have in Python. Now we have four types of data, okay? The first is string, then we have integer, float, and Boolean. Let's talk about each one of these one by one. So starting with the string. Now string is used for textual data, for text-based data. For example, if you are sending a message to your friend like, hey John, now we call it a string in Python since it is a text-based data. And to create a string, always make sure you add quotation marks around the text. So quotation marks, and in between the quotation marks, you can add your text, and that whole thing is now a string. We have another example here, United States, and then we have quotation marks around it as well. So this is again another string. And the main understanding here is that whenever you have a text-based data, it could be a poem, it could be a message to your friend, it could be a book, it could be a blog. All of that can be represented using a string, and you have to add quotation marks around the text. Now the second type of data that we have is integer, and integer is used for numbers with no decimal point. Okay, no decimal point. That's the important part here. For example, if you take a look at the numbers on the left, which are in green, all of them do not have a decimal point, so they are integers. Integers include positives as well as negatives, like this -16 here. The one on the right in the red, they are not integers because they have a decimal point, okay? Integers are only those numbers which do not have a decimal point, like these. Now the third type of data is a float, and float is used for numbers with a decimal point. For example, the ones in the green, all of them have a decimal point. These two are positives, the one in the middle is negative. It allows positives and negatives, but those numbers must include a decimal point, and these are called floats. The one in the right, they are not floats because they do not have a decimal point. The one in the right are actually integers. Now the final type of data that we have is Boolean, and Boolean is used to represent logical values. And we only have two possible values in a Boolean, true and false. Okay, a Boolean data type only supports two values, true and false. True meaning yes, false meaning no. True is on, false is off. It is like that. All right. So right here I have summarized all of the data types that we have. So string is text-based data, textual data. For example, I am eating, quotation marks around that is a string. Integer is numbers without decimal point, like 10, -50. Both of them do not have a decimal point, so they are integers. Float are numbers which have a decimal point, like 10.5, -50.9. Both of them have decimal point, so they are float. And finally, we have Boolean, which contains logical values, and we only have two logical values, true and false.